Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. The unbeaten American prospect Jared Anderson is all weighed in and ready to go as he prepares for Oleksandr Teslenko on the Lomachenko-Comey undercard in New York. So this is a case where this fight kind of feels like it's almost gone under the radar. I'd almost forgotten about it. But in terms of the weight, so Jared Anderson, 240 pounds. Teslenko, a once vaunted prospect a few years back, 213.8 pounds. So this is a fight where, Oleksandr Teslenko, who knows really what he's got left, because he took a serious dent to his career and momentum when he lost to Shondell Winters, and since then he's been really inactive. So Teslenko, who's about 30 years old, 29, record of 17-1. He's only had the one fight since that loss in 2019 to Shondell Winters, and that was just a tune-up about 5 months ago. But in terms of what they were saying in the press conference this week, Jared Anderson says, and rather ruthlessly here, I'll be honest, he let a cruiserweight stop him, so that says it all. I had a pretty tough camp emotionally, but we came physically. We're now mentally prepared. Thanks to my team. They mean a lot to me. They're behind me. And Teslenko himself says, I know I'm the underdog, but I don't care what people say. And perhaps that's a good strategy to have in terms of his preparations, but I think Anderson, from what we've seen in recent fights against the likes of Kingsley eBay, for example, he is on the rise. He, in my view, is the number one American heavyweight prospect today. And the guy is, 21, 22 years old. So there's a lot to like about Anderson and where he's going. And I think this is a very good sort of right fight at the right time. Unlike this matchmaking, there is some challenge in this opponent, but I think that Teslenko, given what we've seen and faded badly and gassed out badly against Winters and was taken out, I think he could present a few challenges early on stylistically, but I think he will gradually wilt under the pressure. I think Jared Anderson to win this inside 5 or 6 rounds. Another prospect that's in action over the weekend is Bakhodir Jalolov. So he is facing, and you can see here, this is his opponent here, a Colombian journeyman, but Jalolov, the 2021 Olympic champion, he's out of Uzbekistan, a record of 8-0 as a pro. He dropped down to the amateurs to pursue that dream of Olympic gold. First fight since winning gold. So looking forward to seeing what's going to happen here in this fight. Not so much because of the result. We know that Jalolov is going to beat this former cruiserweight and probably do it relatively comfortably enough. But it is sort of that sort of next phase of Jalolov's career. He is looking to build from here, and him and the likes of Anderson and a few others, they will be the guys near the top of the division in the coming years. So the current crop will start to shift out in the next couple of years. Jalolov, Anderson and others will start to take over and take position, vying for titles. So it sort of seems to be all here, and we can start focusing on the next wave of prospects coming through. Although I guess the current wave, Daniel Dubois, Tony Yoka, Philip Hrgovic, Joe Joyce, they quite haven't reached the pinnacle yet, which it sort of feels like they've been held back as the other, longer reigning sort of big names have been sort of squeezed out of them every last dollar before I think we're going to move on to the next big crop of fighters. Anyway, that's just my personal opinion. I know some people get a bit upset about that when I sort of say that existing fighters are being prioritized over guys that are coming through, but it is what it is. You're entitled to your opinion, as am I. Charles Martin, he is looking forward to his fight with Luis Ortiz come 1 January 2022. That's going to be a pay-per-view card with him and Ortiz headlining. There is an action-packed heavyweight card. So a press conference earlier this week. I will be doing fuller videos with clips, etc. But here just a couple of graphics from PBC which have gone up. So Martin says, "This is the most focused I've been in my career. This fight is everything for me. A lot of people didn't want to fight me. I give Ortiz credit for stepping up and taking the fight." And Ortiz himself says, "My mind and body are in tip-top shape. If anyone thinks that I won't be up to the challenge, they're dead wrong. I welcome any challenger, and that includes Charles Martin. So also featuring on that undercard is Frank Sanchez and Carlos Negron as the co-main event. Sanchez says, "This is a very important fight for me. I want to keep climbing in the rankings, but I also want to stay active and continue to prove my worth. This is a great stage for me to do that." I think Frank Sanchez is a level or two above Carlos Negron, who has been stopped, by the likes of Dominic Brazil. He has been knocked out by others as well. He's got good height, decent skills, but he does have a level. I think he's sort of top 40 to top 50 max, I should say. Sanchez probably just inside my top 15 at the moment and rising. So he is going to be a hard sort of cover for anyone in the heavyweight division, but maybe similar to the likes of Filip Hrgovic, Luis Ortiz, not going to be a lot of guys lining up to fight them for various reasons. Meanwhile, the WBA champion Trevor Bryan, formerly known as the regular title holder, but they've seemingly dropped that regular designation of late. He is set to face Mahmoud Charr before the end of January 2022. And following on from the purse bid in which his promoter Don King won, Bryan says, "You asked for it, you got it. Let's go, champ in recess. All your talk is done now. I got you. Jan 29, and a bunch of adding people and hashtags galore there by Trevor Bryan. So Trevor Bryan will be returning, I don't want to even say for his annual fight, because he's only had, 2 fights in the past, 3 or 4 years now. But in terms of this matchup, at least we'll get some sort of outcome if this fight actually comes off. I'm sort of expecting some sort of spoke in the wheel here to sort of present itself at some point, as it did at the start of 2021, when Don King seemingly didn't really do anything to help Mahmoud Charr get a visa to help him prove that he was actually due to be fighting in the United States against Trevor Bryan on January 30th this year. So that fight never happened, hence why Mahmoud Charr was binned off to be champion in recess. So it looks like they're going to try do it all over again. This feels like that old saying a little bit. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again, the same way, but expecting a different result. So yeah, let's just sort of see how this plays out. But interestingly, in another video that Bryan posted doing his sort of Shannon Brigg champ impersonation, someone commented, be good to see you more than one match in 2022. And Bryan said, "That's what we plan to do after getting Charr out of the way. Blame him for the hold-up. But stay tuned, the dream show is coming to a theatre near you. Let's go, champ." So I kind of think it's certainly an interesting perspective to just try and blame Mahmoud Charr. The fact that Trevor Bryan has fought so sparingly since he beat an opponent, BJ Flores, to claim a regular interim title in mid-2018 is not necessarily Charr's fault. He should actually be looking closer to home to his promoter, who has just not kept him active. And the fact that Charr and Bryan didn't fight a year ago was largely down to Don King not supporting Mahmoud Charr's visa, processes to come to the United States to fight Bryan. And because of that, who was Johnny on the spot? Berman Stavern to face Trevor Bryan, one of Don King's other fighters. So this is the thing. Bryan might say blame Charr, but maybe they should be blaming themselves, and Trevor Bryan probably should be asking more from his promoter Don King. But as we know, in days gone by, years gone by, I should say, that can be a dangerous endeavour. But Trevor Bryan, Mahmoud Charr, seemingly going to happen, we shall see. And rounding out this heavyweight news mashup video, so I was going to just do an update on something from Dave Allen that he'd said, but he deleted it from his Instagram. But as they say, deleting's cheating. And yesterday, after I'd done my general sweep across social media for stuff, I actually had screenshotted it, as I do for all sorts of news and bits and pieces, so I save it into my files. So Dave Allen said, "My fight December 17th against Christian Donfak is off because Christian has been a good fighter over the years, but looking at the fight, it goes against my beliefs of what boxing should be. It should be competitive and value for money for the people who come to the arenas to watch. I hope to still box next week, but I won't fight at the cost of my self-respect, and I want to make boxing more competitive and be more value for money for the paying fan. And this match I was to be part of was me being very hypocritical, and for that I apologize and go back to the drawing board for next Friday and beyond. And if I don't box, then that's a shame, but I have to sleep at night, and I take full responsibility for this fight being made. I just panicked and I wanted to box so badly, but at the cost of being in a fight that goes against what I believe boxing should be. So that post from Dave Allen, deleted, reasons unknown. So if he ends up going to continue to face this guy, well, I guess he's been a little bit all over the map with his statements. But regardless, if he does continue to box in a week's time from this video being put up, and it's still a so-so opponent, maybe not the original opponent, I mean, it is what it is, really. I mean, I think a lot of people haven't expected Dave Allen, if he's fighting on a Fight Zone card, which he was going to be for this upcoming fight, that he wasn't going to be facing anyone good. And if he is going to be against a big-name opponent, he's likely going to be the B side, and it's going to be on a bigger broadcaster, BT, DAZN, something of that ilk, rather than Fight Zone bringing a massive opponent for Dave Allen, for Allen to be the A side, because he's just kind of not that opponent. He's the guy that has brought in name recognition, durable, can go some rounds, but ultimately is going to lose. So not sure why he's deleted that. Maybe he had second thoughts, because maybe it is going to be the same opponent, but we shall see. But what do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.